Hi, I'm Angela Morone. I would going into telling the story about a near fatal car accident I was involved in, leaving with permanent facial scars. I was 19 years old. My accident happened at 8:06 a.m. However, I was not driving. I think the night before from hanging out with friends and stuff, I was really tired and I asked my boyfriend to drive my car. We lived in an apartment complex and we took out and the light right at the apartment complex, he did not see the brake lights because the sun glare was in his eyes and he went 45 miles an hour underneath the 18-wheeler tractor trailer, like those big delivery trucks, and the roof of the car came off. The car split in half. He went into the median of like the grass and stuff and really didn't get hurt. There was a little bit of glass that got into his hair, into his iodine, but I went underneath the truck, and only thing that saved my life, because like I was leaned back exactly like this because the sun was in my eyes and I was resting, so my seat was reclined, and that's why I was almost decapitated. And they said that I missed my jugular vein by a half of a centimeter. My bottom lip was ripped off. My tongue was actually severed off. My forehead was split in half. My hand was severed, all the nerves in my hand. My right shoulder was cracked in half. The only thing that really saved me basically was the reclining of the seat and the position that the seat was in, and of course the seatbelt saving me from going into the 18-wheeler. But when the police got there, they had to use the jaws of life to get me out of the car. I was induced into a coma. I have a lisp when I'm saying certain things because I'm missing part of my lips still, and my tongue was severed off. So there's certain things that I still say, like the S's and stuff. You can hear a slight, I didn't sound like that before. And my mouth droops a lot because your mouth is like a muscle, and I lost all the nerves in my face. At that time, I lost 80% feeling, and I was told there was a possibility I would get 20% back, but I never did. So I can't feel anything on the left side of my face. I felt like I was very mature at the age of 19. I was enrolled in college. I had a boyfriend. I had a full-time job. I felt like he was supportive. I thought at that time that I was so ready for life. I thought that, next would come, the marriage and proposals and babies and all that with him. But the car accident scared him a lot after we got into that car accident together. And while I was in the hospital, he broke up with me. His last words were, "I hope you work on getting your looks and your health back." And that was very traumatizing. During the time of my car accident when I was 19, I was obese, and only thing people ever told me was that I had a pretty face. And after having my face ripped off, I was like sitting there thinking, well, I'm fat and now I have scars on my face. No one's ever going to like me again. And then he broke up with me. It was like, it was very depressing. We met when I was 18 and I just was graduating high school. I was a senior in high school. I moved out. So like I felt so mature. I felt like, I got my own apartment. I got into college. I got a full-time job as a manager in the mall. So at 19, I felt very successful. I felt very set at life. I felt very focused. The morning of December 21st, 1999, when the car accident happened, we pulled out of our apartment complex onto Route 18, which is like a major highway. It was very bright out that morning, and he did not see the brake lights on an 18-wheeler tractor trailer and went straight into it. The truck was stopped at a red light. The way he hit the truck was on the edge corner of it, so the car split in half and the roof came off. It was so bright, and that's why I had my seat reclined and I had my hand over my eye, so I did not see the impact. They told me that I was coherent, but I don't remember. I didn't know who my mother was. I didn't know who my family was. I have a brain damage. I have a hole in the front left lobe, and it's short-term memory, compulsiveness, and a couple of other things that happened to me. That's the part of your brain that controls that. My short-term memory is very bad. I had no idea what was going on, where I was. And then a lot of people came, "Oh, I saw you in the hospital." I came, and I have no recollection of anybody coming to the hospital. My own mother and father said they sat there the whole time by my side, and I don't remember them being there at all. My mother said she sat there for days and said, "I'm your mother," and I would say, "Who are you? Why are you here?" And now me being a mother, that would break my heart. I didn't know my name. I didn't know days of the week. I didn't know colors. I didn't know anything. I had to be retaught just about everything. So all the injuries I sustained from the car accident, majority of it was facial, where my bottom lip was severed off. And they actually took the tissue from inside my mouth, my cheek. That's how they developed my lip what it is right now. All right here, you could see, you used to be able to see the bone. That all was put back together in a reconstructive surgery. There's 6 stitches under my right eye. There was 36 stitches across my forehead. My forehead was severed open. There is 12 stitches that go on, like, because my whole mouth basically was ripped off. I have a hole in the left front lobe of my head. Majority of it's facial injuries and head injuries. After the car accident, I had to go through about 3 years of physical therapy. That lasted the longest. I did 2 years of occupational therapy, and I had to do a year and a half of speech therapy, helping me pronunciate words again and recognize what words are and pattern of words, and basically, go from preschool to 12th grade all over again. What I remember most about physical therapy at 19 years old was that I was the youngest person in the whole entire area. Everybody else I knew at that time was in college or doing something fun, and I was literally in a room with 70, 80, 90-year-old people that barely can walk. I had to walk with a walker. I had to use crutches. I had to be in a wheelchair. I had to eat processed food because I couldn't chew regular food. It was heartbreaking for me to think that my whole life was over at 19 years old. I struggled getting through those therapies because I literally would sit around a room and think that I can't believe I'm 19 years old and this is where I'm at. My car accident affected my social life horribly. I felt bad when people felt bad for me. I didn't want to talk about it. I just wanted to be 19. My social life just went down the hill. I didn't feel like dressing up, going to clubs. I didn't feel pretty. I felt very ugly. It was very depressing. I never really processed, even to this day. I still look in a mirror and the scars affect how I feel, and it affects my day. When I was younger, I think I did drugs and alcohol a lot to not want to think about it, or for people to feel inclusive. So drinking was a problem. After my car accident and I started drinking alcohol, it lasted probably 25 years. I wanted to get out of New Jersey and meet new people and do new things. At age 20, I went to Atlanta, Georgia, and I went to college to study fashion still. And when I came back, I met my children's father at a gas station because I was actually looking for drugs. He cared to hear the story. I told him about my story. He cared that I went to college and stuff. He seemed to show a little bit of concern, but it ended up all being just a ploy, because being in a car accident sometimes involves settlements. So you get money. And he met me the week before I got my settlement. And when I got my settlement at 25, I picked a structured settlement. So I knew I was getting money until I was 40 years old. He knew I was getting money until I was 40 years old. The guy literally didn't have to work for 20 years, and he got to have 3 kids and didn't pay rent and didn't pay to eat and didn't pay to do anything. So again, I got used by somebody. So I met this person with low self-esteem, and they took advantage. So right when I got back from college, I was around 23, and that's when I met my kid's father, or my relationship that I held for over 20 years. In the beginning, we used to go to parks and have a lot of us time, like stare at the stars, go to the beach. And I needed that. I needed that closeness with a person. It was very good for me to have a relationship, and a lot of things I wasn't realizing because I was so caught up in just the fact that someone wanted to spend time with me on a daily basis. Then things started really going bad when he put his hands on me a couple times. Domestic violence started occurring, and then we would never go out anywhere. Then when I got pregnant, it would turn into a lot of emotional things, like he didn't want this child with me and that everything was my fault. So I had to take a lot into consideration, because now I was having a child, but I wanted the father to be in my child's life. I wanted to have, a perfect family, which is what society always talks about, or where everybody just family wants, what friends want. Everybody wants mother, father, baby. And I tried to make it happen as long as possible. I hid the fact a lot of the time that he was being violent with me, saying different things to me to make me feel bad about myself. When I started losing weight, that's a huge part. When I met him, I was morbidly obese. I was over 250 pounds, say, and I'm 5'2". And then I got down to 120 pounds. Then he got me pregnant, but then he told me he didn't want to get me pregnant, but yet we were having unprotected sex. So it just, things like that, I didn't know how to process, because I was still young. I'm in my early 20s. I did have low self-confidence because of everything about my face. He would tell me not to wear makeup because I think I did get more attention when I did wear makeup from people, and I felt more confident. So there was a lot of things that were happening that I didn't realize he was doing subliminally, like trying to make me feel bad about myself or not feel good when I walked out in public and wear makeup and look nice and such, and then getting me pregnant and not being supportive. So all of that went really south. And between our first kid and second kid, there was a 5-year difference because there was a lot of back and forth breakups. I'm the one who paid for everything, so I would just ask him to go back to his mother's house. And, I worked full time. I had my own apartment. I was taking care of the child. I was doing everything. When I started working as an actress and I tried to do my taxes, and then I found out that I was married and I lived in a different place by the IRS. And then I questioned, and then I got beat up. I'm physically unable to fight back. I actually am on Social Security disability also. I can't use my hands anymore. All of that nerve damage in my hands, I had carpal tunnel surgery and now I can't use them. Like my hands, they don't, I have less than 5% usage of them. I could barely hold a cell phone. I could barely hold a fork when I'm eating food now. So I really can't use my hands. My back is messed up. My right shoulder is because of that clavicle, it never healed. They don't fix that. That's kind of like your ribs when they get broken. They're supposed to just mend themselves. Well, my shoulder didn't heal properly because I've probably been going through domestic violence for 20 years, getting thrown downstairs or being punched in the face because of if you tell somebody that you can't feel your face and they don't care, like they'll hit you in your face. Even after you tell them, it's very bad. It's horrible kind of what I've been through. I stuck up for myself. I went to the police. I got a restraining order, but then I had to drop it so that my kids can see them. My son just graduated high school. Our oldest child just graduated high school, and he went to go see him at the graduation, but I left. I don't want to have any contact with this person. I'm trying to do things now so I could take my kids and live a much healthier life away from that. After 20 years, I finally left him. I'm 42 turning 43 now, and I have so much faith in myself and confidence now that I want to have a whole different positive life with my children. I've been acting. I've been doing a lot of things on TV, and I have my children involved. We've done some commercials together, some ads together. We do reviews together. We get products and we review them sometimes, or we were in a local community event. We go to community events together. My kids enjoy this new lifestyle. I like bringing them to the city. I like taking them on mini vacations. I like them seeing me on TV, even if it's just background. They see how happy I am. They see me not crying, and that's something that I think means a lot to them. The best advice I could give is that if you think it's never going to get better, or if you just don't see any light at the end of the tunnel, if you keep going, there's light at the end of the tunnel. You have purpose. I'm not highly religious or spiritual, but I highly believe that there's a purpose for me, and that the car accident that I was involved in, my story, if I could give anybody any kind of motivation or any kind of hope in their life to feel better about themselves, or that there is something positive that can turn out of a negative, I'd love to help anybody or share anything else I can share with you, because there's always a light at the end of the tunnel. The plastic surgeon who worked on me, she died. She had gave me so many plans of things that we were going to do with my face and stuff, where they actually did put a lip implant, but my body rejected it. That was very traumatic. She put an implant in it and my body rejected the implant. And that was something new that they were doing at that time. So she told me, okay, go finish college. When you come back, we'll work on these new things, because, the medical, they would have perfected whatever needed to be done and blah, blah, blah. She ended up dying of breast cancer. Breast cancer took over her whole body, I guess, and she ended up dying very fast because of it. When I came back from college, she was nowhere to be found. And in the state of New Jersey, if one plastic surgeon's worked on your face, another one would not work on your face without these records. And I couldn't get any records because they shut down her whole entire office. So I've never had any more surgeries done. They said a lot of she positioned my scars that she said the older I would get, they would turn into just wrinkles. and that you wouldn't really see them. But there was other certain things about like the muscle control and stuff that she said that she was going to be able to help me with that I've never gotten any. I don't know if there's anything to talk about that, but I was even granted money for these surgeries in my settlement, but I never ever got to have any surgeries or any plastic surgery. They were supposed to do dermabrasions and Botox and do things to pick up my face and do different things. But right now, this is exactly how I look after this car accident. And after from 1999 to now 2023, this is just me. I went to a makeup artist. The first day out of the hospital, my mother brought me to a makeup studio, and I think I went to a Clinique studio, and they have something called theater makeup. And the woman told me something. She said, when you want to take away from one part of your face, you draw attention to another part of your face. And she started doing my eyes. And when my eyes are done up with makeup and everything, it really draws attention away from my mouth and every other thing. And that always gave me a boost of confidence. And I don't know if anybody else would ever take that as seriously as I did, but everybody has a most beautiful part about them. I always thought it was my smile, and then having your smile, quote unquote, taken away, I had to figure out other ways to make myself feel sexy or attractive. So in order to do that, I like to put makeup on my eyes and draw attention to my eyes in that sense. And the fact that I lost 125 pounds, I like to draw attention to like a smaller waist, but exercising has helped develop, because I was a size 18 when I met my kid's father, and I went down to like a steady size 2 now. People treat you completely different based upon your looks. One thing that I used to talk to my kid's father was something always that we talked a lot about, was the fact that he said that he always liked me because when I was bigger, because he thought like I was a different person. But I always told him I've never changed. Doesn't matter if I'm 250 pounds or 100 pounds. I'm still the same person inside. It's what you think. And that's, people are very shallow in that sense because they base their opinion off of your physical looks. So it's hard to have scars on your face, or it's hard to have weight or whatever people judge you about and basing that off of you. But I'm still the same exact person I was before my car accident, after my car accident, being 250 pounds or being 120 pounds. I'm still the same exact person. I have the same values, the same morals, and I totally feel the same way.